Hi everybody, hello, and welcome back to part 5 of our Social Media for Beginners series. I'm glad you could join us. Just waiting half a minute more, just so that we get some more people on board. All exciting. Pinterest is like one of my favorite subjects. Okay, a couple more seconds. Give it a go. And we'll go. Hello again, and welcome back to part 5 of our social media class beginners series, Pinterest. I'm Charlotte Harding, and I work in our Neu-Isenburg office in Germany. And today's webinar is all about the platform Pinterest, with a basic overview on what it's all about, how to use it, and why it is or will be a great platform for your business. So what is Pinterest? Well, for a start, it's highly addictive. Pinterest is a powerful online visual search engine that is brilliant for collecting and sharing visual content on the web. It's a shareable picture library, the virtual equivalent of a pin board or an ideas board, where you would tear out a photo from a magazine and pin it onto a board, or in my case, the fridge, as a reminder or for inspiration. Only this is a digital version with the added advantage that it comes with the source link to remind you where you found it in the first place on the internet. So Pinterest has only been around since 2010, but it currently has over 250 million users and hosts and boasts a gallery of over 200 billion pictures. Yes, billion. That is a number I can't even fathom. So users can discover, find inspiration, collect, categorize, share, keep all their favorite pictures. And these are known as pins. And it's truly a lot of fun to use. So as mentioned before, every pin on Pinterest is going to be an idea or an inspiration piece that can link back to the original website that it came from. These pins can be kept, stored, housed, pinned, placed into virtual categorized folders on your account's homepage. Now, these folders are actually called boards. So think of a themed pin board for you to pin your pictures on. And that's the whole inspiration behind Pinterest, pinning up and keeping stuff, keeping that inspiration that you're interested in. And it's like collecting, but without the clutter. It's absolutely amazing. So like all social media platforms, Pinterest is ever evolving too. What is a how-to or a best practice today might change tomorrow. And that's why we're just going to cover the basics here in this webinar. If you're interested in learning more and taking your Pinterest account to a higher level, there are plenty of other online and in-depth resources, starting with Pinterest.com itself, that will help you to figure everything out. And trust me, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of online resources. So as I said, we'll try and list the basics and the current best practices, but ultimately the in-depth detailed research needs to be done by you independently of what is explained and or written here in this webinar. So our advice is going to be very high level, very generalized, as every person, every country will have their differences, preferences, and regulations, and we naturally can't cover everything. So here's our official notice in German and in French too. So feel free to go back and read the details. But it basically says everything to follow is a general overview. It's not an endorsement. We won't cover legal matters. It's not a technical training. You're responsible for complying with your own local rules and policies. And this webinar is for training purposes only. So let's start at the very beginning. If you've never used Pinterest before, familiarize yourself with it and play with it by going to Pinterest.com. or Pinterest.de for Germany, or .fr for France, .co.uk for the UK, etc. And there's a language version for practically every major country in the world. Start by keying in, play with it, start by keying in a few search words, things, objects, themes that you're interested in, like another hobby or a vacation destination, favorite foods, animals. Check out all those lovely pictures that's going to bounce up as suggested pins for you. And then try keying in the name of your favorite stamp set. Search, for an example, Stamping Up Magnolia Lane. take a look at the hundreds of pictures of wonderful inspiration out there that your fellow demonstrators have already posted. Is there one project in particular that you would like to case perhaps, or to use as inspiration? I know there's hundreds that I want to copy. And well, in just one click, you can save that picture onto one of your own boards to look at or case or just check out for a later date when you feel inspired to do something with it. In order to save a picture or a pin, you'll need to log in first, or to take even a step further back, you'll first need to set up an account for yourself. It's easy and free, and you just need to follow the instructions on the site itself, and it will walk you through step by step. It'll ask you to fill out all your usual details, your name, your email address, etc. And then you'll be asked to think up an account name. Now, you don't have to use your real name. You can quite easily use an alias, or even better, your business name. And you can also customize your Pinterest page to suit you. So customizing your Pinterest page is a quick, great way to show off your branding and to keep everything looking uniform and related to your business's website or blog design maybe. You don't have to set this up immediately, of course. You can go back to the settings at a later date to do it. But if you're going to use Pinterest for your business, take the time to do it, because it will make your company, your brand visual and instantly identifiable to your target audience. You could, for an example, start by creating a Pinterest board cover. With the cover, you can add your own images and fonts and photography to the design. It's pretty cool. And you can add a logo button designed to match your business branding for a professional touch. And regardless, it'll be useful to keep your Pinterest profile name the same as all your other social media accounts for Unity. Don't forget to add that all-important web link, and we'll get to that important why in a little while. So name, web link, you're set. Once you're set up with an account and logged in, creating the first boards on your page is super easy. So here's a little graphic. So this is basically your startup page, and then you're going to click on the plus icon above your account name, and you'll get a drop-down menu. Once you've got the drop-down menu, click on Create Board to create a new board, or your first one in this case, and you'll get a little pop-up window. Add a descriptive name or a title for your board, and preferably to the max of 24 characters. If the title is a little bit longer, you won't see it at a glance, and also keep some good keywords in mind. Decide if you want to make your board secret or not. Now, this means whether or not you want to make it visible to others, like going public. Secret boards are distinguished from other boards in your collection by a little padlock icon next to the title. Once you've decided, click on Create to finish up. And seriously, now you have a named board. It's that simple. Now you need to start collecting pins. So generally, every picture on Pinterest, found on Pinterest, you'll find a little pin button on it. And if you find another picture and want to capture it onto one of your own boards, just hover over the picture with your mouse, and up will pop this little red Save button. So you're going to click on the Save button, and it will simply ask you in a drop-down menu which of your boards you'd like to pin it to. Or you can even create a new board for it if you find a new topic. It's super, super easy. And as you work down the pages of suggested pinning things, Pinterest will automatically show you which pins you've already saved by highlighting the name of the board that you've pinned it under. Now, instead of just saving other people's pins, it's going to be very beneficial for you to contribute or upload some of your original pictures too. Now, these could be pictures of cards you've made, for an example, a handmade banner or a scrapbook page, and basically any image that could be related or relevant, beneficial for your business. Now, it's super easy, again, to upload an original pin. Click on your profile picture to view your profile, and then again, on the top of your profile name, you're going to see that plus icon. Click on the plus icon and you'll get, again, that drop-down menu. Click Create Pin. Another window pops up and systematically follow and fill out the steps required. You can either drag and drop an image into the box or click on the little gray arrow and it will take you to your file explorer on your computer so you can choose a picture. And drag and drop works directly from websites too, so you don't even have to even save the picture first. Then by clicking Select on the top, pick or create the board for your pin to live on. Now you can edit and move that pin to another destination later. That's also super simple. You're going to name your pin, meaning add a title, and think up a short description for it. Importantly, add a link to where you want this pin to link up to. So this is going to be to your blog or to a website. So remember, all pins are traceable back to this blog or a website. Use the power of this tool to guide your pinners to your other sites. And here's a little tip. Always remember to set up links on all your original content. With repinned pictures, try not to send customers too often to other destinations by linking them up to other people's work. And then once you've done that, click Save and you're done. So pretty cool. When you pin a picture onto one of your folders or onto one of your boards, you are theoretically building a collection. Say, in this case, we're going to dip into my own collection. And I'm going to choose stamping techniques, a collection of all the super cool stamping techniques I want to eventually, yet probably never have time to, try out. So anyway, if I click on this board, the board will open up to I've had Pinterest. And then to keep things even more organized, boards can be subcategorized too. Maybe you want your card design inspirations to be categorized into themes or by stamp sets, for an example, which may or may not help your searches for something specific. Sometimes they just get too huge. Organization of your boards is quite crucial. So you want to put your pictures in the right categories so that you and others can actually find them again quite quickly. So for an example, under my pin board, Cards and Co, I've subcategorized all the inspiration I found by stamp set name and theme. So Stampin' Up affiliated people might appreciate finding things under the stamp set name, but people who have never heard of Stampin' Up before will appreciate finding things under a general search category like religious cards for religious occasions or babies, for an example. So you can also view everything you've ever or recently collected by selecting to view by pins instead of boards. But generally that will bring up all the pictures that you've pinned pretty much chronologically in the order that you've pinned them in, including my obsession with Jack Russell puppies. So back to the main point of Pinterest. We've said pinning a picture of Pinterest, pinning a picture of interest, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Pinning a picture of interest on Pinterest has the invaluable added advantage of always knowing where it came from. And just by clicking on the pictures themselves, you will generally find a source link provided next to the picture. So here's the importance of adding your own. The majority of pictures can be linked back to the original source, I can't repeat this enough, on the internet for viewing or reading or for finding out more information whenever one pleases. It rather acts like a digital online bookmark. So generally there are three options on how to interact with any pin. You can click through the pin to its destination, which is going to be a blog or a shop. You can repin it to one of your boards for later or forever. And even share a picture with someone else who has Pinterest by sending it to them. So that's cool. If you find a picture and you say, hey, have a look at this one, it's really fun. So you can save and collect pictures individually from other pin boards or pinners to your page easily. But you can also follow people and collections of interest too. And then every time someone posts something in that category, it will be added automatically to your pinned suggestion feed for you to see. As the name suggests, you will be following those pinners or those boards. And all that can work from the flip side too. Other people can follow you and save the pictures, articles, links that you post onto their sites. These mostly anonymous personages are called followers. Now, a follower is usually a like-minded Pinterest user who has subscribed to your Pinterest account because he or she is interested in what you have to show there, and the hopes that you will, and they have hopes that you will be pinning more of the same subject and topic or that shared niche interest. And if they subscribe or follow your page, they will be able to see your pins, your new pins, every new pin that you post in their newsfeed, without having to check out your Pinterest account deliberately. So it's a real time saver. If they follow you as a person or an account, or vice versa, if you follow them, they will get to see every pin you post from any of your boards, or they can opt to subscribe to just a single board of interest on your page. And only those pins that you post to those subscribed to boards will turn up in their suggestion feed. So here's the magical bit. Anyone visiting their sites can see your pins on their feeds too. So we're all advertising for each other in a way. It's a bit of a stalking game because you don't really have to personally interact with anybody if you don't want to. But with following, everyone sees what everyone else posts. So it's super cool. And then as your posts gain popularity, you'll see this little number indicator rise before the word follower. And it's fun to see how many people are following you and vice versa. It's a little bit addictive. So following and followers. That was that topic. Right, and here's where it gets interesting for you as a demonstrator. Like other social media platforms, Pinterest can obviously be used not only for personal reasons and interests, but also for your business. So why is Pinterest business-wise so beneficial and good? Well, I've said over and over and over again, the absolute main advantage is that each pin to Pinterest is able to include a direct link to a website or other social media platform. I mean, that's the number one. Comparing Pinterest to Instagram, for an example, even though that they're both very visual platforms, it's the ability to easily add web links that sets Pinterest apart from Instagram. And it's an extremely powerful marketing strategy. Think about it yourself. If you've visited Pinterest already, have you ever found a lovely project and wondered who the creator was? Or wanted to know more about the suppliers it was made from? Or perhaps the pinner has a particular crafting style you like, and then you've clicked along onto their blog or web address because you wanted to see more from the same artist. Well, that's what it's all about. Now imagine you pin a cute picture of a card or a project that you've made on Pinterest. An infinite number of viewers can, by simply clicking on that picture, trace it back to your website or blog and have access to even more related information instantly. Maybe for a supply list on your blog, or maybe you've got a how-to video there, or you've linked them to your YouTube channel. You can even link the pin or picture directly to your online store. So remember, Pinterest has approximately 250 million users, and statistically 200 million of those users use Pinterest every month. I mean, the viewing potential is insane here. And notably, statistically, Pinterest drives 3.8 times more sales than any other platform, and 87% of pinners have purchased a product because of Pinterest. So, especially in our creative line of work, the majority of Pinterest users can rely heavily on the inspiration that they see on Pinterest as a stimulus for making their own projects. And even better, in many, many cases, checking out all the different variations and products out there can help the viewer to make an informed purchase decision. And hopefully that decision is with you. So Pinterest will also promote your branding, and it's a great way to get your look and your style as well as all your ideas, out to more people in your existing niche market. Being active on Pinterest keeps you on top of emerging trends in our industry. So keep a lookout for pins that are gaining the most attraction or being shared more. And by comparing and checking out which pins are getting the most likes and repins will help you improve and add your own library of content. Keep an eye on things like fashion trends and home decor and color trends for inspiration too. And you'll most likely find that Stampin' Up can offer color ranges and images that will fit right into whatever's trending in some way or another. Pins linked to other websites will effectively increase website traffic. We've already said Pinterest drives more people to your site or your blog than any other social media platform. So as each target audience member repins your pin, this means save your pin on their Pinterest page or board for a future reference, that pin can then be viewed by all their other followers too. I know I'm repeating myself, but your pin has the potential to literally be shared around the globe, and your brand and your business, your artwork, your creations could get exposed from dozens to hundreds of potential clients, thousands. Of course, you can be successful with only a Pinterest account because you can upload pictures and create a pin without having to link it to any website. But we'd strongly recommend for business that you do link it back to your website or blog or Facebook account if you have one. So remember too, if you have multiple social media sites running, keep your Pinterest profile name the same as all your other accounts for easier recognition and accessibility. Now, if you have a Pinterest account already, it's easy to sign up for a free business profile. You'll just have to follow the link, fill out a few more requested details, and then in the end, click on Create an Account. You can also search on Pinterest itself to find out how to do it, or the safest bet, click on Pinterest's Help Center and then on to Business to give you all the facts and figures and sign-ins, etc. The reasons or the advantages to switching over to a business profile is going to be mostly for the analytics, but also found in the business settings. You can pay Pinterest to promote your posts or pins for you too. Yes, this is a fairly new revised Stampin' Up policy. More about that in a bit, but it's very exciting. Pinterest Analytics will not only give you a typical overview of your account's performance, maybe you're familiar with it, analytics that you're familiar with. They'll tell you how many clicks or repins you've had, or what content is performing best, and how much traffic it's driving to your website, for an example. But it also can, most importantly, help you find more people and interest groups. And so you can reach out for a wider coverage that you might not able to do by yourself. So for an example, it will let you search for people and groups with like interests. You can search for people interested in similar brands, or look out for businesses your followers engage in. Find out who and what your followers engage with otherwise, and then go check out the group boards that they're a part of and join those too. The more people you reach out to or expose yourself to, the more successful you will be, and Pinterest can help you find them. Other features of Pinterest include enabling rich pins. Now, rich pins are on a Pinterest business account only. What are they? Well, rich pins add a few extra details automatically to your pins, directly on or next to or under the pin itself. There are a few different types of rich pins that you can choose from. For an example, product pins, article pins, recipe pins, which we may not need, etc. The two that would be most of interest to us are the product pins. Now, for any online retailer, I'm having trouble this morning getting words out of my mouth. For any online retailer, having product pins makes shopping for your customers easier through Pinterest. A rich pin for a product includes real-time pricing field, availability information, and information on where to buy your product. They provide a visit button for them to click on. So make sure the visit link is linked up to your website or online shop. Article pins. These are cool for bloggers. Rich pins can help your followers easily save and share your blog articles and posts that interest them. Each article pin will highlight the headline, the author, the story description underneath the pin image, and for your own boards, focus on pinning a good mix of content-related pins, so tutorials, DIYs, etc. Not just products. And in this way, you're going to broaden the interest and viewership. Setting up a rich pin option requires an application and approval and or a validation process. It's going to be a bit of technical work, and actually many say it's a bit of a pain, but once that's all figured out and approved, it's worth it in the end. You can find out more about the different types of rich pins and how they all work really on Pinterest.com in the business page section. Video ads. You can upload and promote videos on Pinterest too. Now, at an extra cost, but you can also pay to support it to be advertised to a larger audience, similar to how it works on Facebook. Promoted videos will autoplay when they come into view in a person's home feed. Then you click on it to open up the video and watch it in a larger view or replay it. And it will also load and link up to your destination site. Promoted pins. Create ads on Pinterest with promoted pins. A promoted pin is the easiest way to get your product in front of the right target audience. However, again, it is a pay service. Promoted pins promise you to pop up all over the place based on a viewer's activity and interest history. So if you're looking to build up brand awareness and increase online sales and drive online traffic back to your website or site, setting up promoted pins could be very interesting. Promoted pins are set up with a Pinterest ad manager. Again, check out Pinterest.com for more information. And they fit seamlessly in with your boards and pin style. So according to Pinterest, 61% of pinners have made a purchase after seeing business content on their feed. That's pretty enormous. As Pinterest promoted pins are similar in nature to Facebook post boosts, Stamping Up will be revising or has recently revised their online policies to reflect and allow this. So go check out the policies and you'll see it all there. To pin any image or a link from the web, for pinning convenience, think about adding a Pinterest browser button to your browser. For an example, Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, whatever you use, to save ideas anywhere on the web super easily. It's also called a save button, and it makes saving things to your boards as easy as just clicking the red P button at the top of your browser search bar, wherever you find something on the web that you want to save. So how do you get this convenient red P button in your browser? Well, go to Pinterest browser button install page and just search for the word browser button on their page. That's easier. Pick the right version for your browser. The page will ask and suggest stuff for you. And then follow the prompts to complete the installation. It really downloads super quick, very, very easy to do. And then once it's installed, wherever you're browsing, whenever you're browsing the internet, for an example, on stampingup.com, when you see a picture that you like, click on the Pinterest browser button. And magically, when you do that, it captures all the pictures featured on that web page like this. So choose the picture that you want to save again, click on it, pick a board that you want to save it to, and yeah, done. It's saved, it's there. The next question to answer is, so how to make your images pinnable on your website or blog? So how can others do that when they visit your site? To make your website or blog images pinnable, you can add a Pinterest widget. I love that word, widget, or a save button to the pictures on your site. So a widget is just a techie jargon for an interactive button or a symbol or an icon, a button that does. And by adding this button to your website and to each of your pictures is one of the best and easiest ways for your business to be discovered on Pinterest, because it makes it really easy for your readers to automatically add your amazing images and posts to their Pinterest boards in a single click without even having to leave your brand's website or blog. So they literally just hover over a picture with their cursor over the image, and the save button or the Pinterest logo will magically appear for them to click on. So you're going to really want to have one of these. So to create buttons that you can add to your website or blog, first go to Pinterest's widget builder page. Why can I not say that like with a straight face? Widget builder page, and click the Save Button tab. It's going to ask you what button type you would like. From a drop-down menu, you're going to select Image Hover. This is the button type that appears when you hover over an image. Decide if you want a little round button or a larger rectangular image as your button design. And note, if you select a larger image, it's also going to let you change the language that you want to use for the word save. So it's an international button, if you will. After you're done designing, well, selecting your hover button, you will be given a personalized code to add and embed into your blog. And after that, it's installed and your widgets are working. Your blog and website visitors can pin away advertising for you without you having to do a thing. So enough of the tech. How about some best practices? What should I pin? As the owner of your business, you are the expert. You can pin handmade projects, how-to instructions, promotions, products, or anything related to your business. 9 out of 10 pinners who stop by your page and choose to follow you will most likely have similar interests to you anyway. So how do you turn these prospects, or these new leads, if you will, from just followers into customers? The burning question. Well, try and ask yourself a few questions before you post anything. What are these people potentially looking for on Pinterest? What do I look for? What's the main focus or purpose for me posting this picture? Is it just because it's pretty? Am I looking for recognition? Am I trying to sell something? Am I trying to educate or provide information to someone? Am I advertising my business with this post? What can I show? What can I write to get them to check out my website or blog for more information? And what can I show and write to get them to ask me for more and to interact with me? Now, as an avid paper crafter, you're probably going to end up with lots and lots of different inspiration boards. One's for cards made by you, one for cards made by others, projects made by others. One's only made with Stampin' Up products, or a board collecting stamping techniques to try. You may have a scrapbooking board or a gift wrapping board. And in the eyes of Pinterest and your followers, this is a good thing. Having multiple boards is a good thing. It gives the viewers and pinners a chance to search for something more specific and find it. However, in order to widen your audience, we're going to suggest incorporating a couple of general interest boards on your account too. So for an example, perhaps one about wedding stationery or christenings, birthday decorations, photography tips, tips for homemade Christmas gifts, etc. And all these topics that someone generally looking for might benefit from knowing about Stampin' Up too. So for an example, people looking for paper stationery, gift giving, memory keeping perhaps, any topic that might even only vaguely relate to and point to paper crafting. Searching for homemade jam recipes, for example, might attract people to become interested in homemade labels or swing tags. Does that make sense? So if a visitor lands on one of these generic boards on your site, one hopes that they'll be interested in the tags that you've posted under jams and preserves. And then they'll stay and they'll browse a bit and then hopefully check out the other boards on your Pinterest page. Hopefully, they probably will. And be guided to your website. And it will come across as an advertisement for all the rest of your Stampin' Up work. So creating some boards based on what your viewers, potential customers, persons of interest might search for will help your Pinterest be relevant and useful for your followers. So old and new. A little tech tip, don't forget pinning your own material is more valuable than pinning someone else's. Pinterest aims to promote content creators or first pinners first, meaning pins are created by the owner of the site and they'll be given distribution priority in the main feed. Pin daily. Whether it's your content or not, consistency is the key. Pin daily to keep your content fresh. Now, daily doesn't mean only pin your originals daily. I mean, that would be a ton of work. But by pinning and repinning frequently, I repeat, yours or not, you're providing more content for the algorithms to show others. Even older pins that you have are going to constantly be shared too if your content catches the eyes of others. Also ask for repins. You might have a pin on Pinterest already, but it won't harm to invite others now and then on your blog post to post your pictures on their Pinterest pages. A strong call to action can result in significantly more repins and more exposure. Pinterest is highly addictive. Here's the tip. Perhaps addictive is the wrong word, but you can get easily distracted. In fact, you can get totally distracted. In the minutes and hours, those are just going to fly by while you immerse yourself in all that great inspiration. So here's a little tip. Write yourself a to-do list before you start, just to keep yourself on track why you ended up on Pinterest in the first place, or just set an egg timer for 10 minutes. Keep focused. The next tip, join boards, group boards. As I mentioned earlier, joining group pinning boards will reach out to more people and you'll be regarded as another influencer on the topic within that board. So what are group boards? Well, it's basically a collaborative or shared board. A group board on Pinterest is owned by one person who can add other pinners, who can then contribute pins to that board. And you can request to join a group board by contacting the owner, and then they have to invite you to become a collaborator before you can actually pin something. So it's a bit like a Facebook private group. So, and the power of group boards is amazing. You pin your content onto the board and anyone, like all those strangers, who follow that board can potentially see it, including the board owner's audience and any of the other collaborators' audience too. So this just blossoms. It's essentially free access to other pinners' audiences, which can result in more repins and new followers for you, which of course leads to more traffic on your boards and web pages. So start getting interactive with them. Start liking, pinning, commenting on other people's pins, ones that inspire you or relate to your business, and then follow others with similar ideas to you. And the more you share, the more you get noticed, and the more organically you're going to grow without having to put any effort or money into it. Okay, there's a little bit of effort, but it's super cool. Although this is a best practice, joining group boards, unfortunately, it's quite common for people not to get a reply when they request to join a group. So sometimes groups have maxed out on their contributors. For an example, maybe the organizer just can't be bothered to reply. Maybe a huge amount of requests are in the pipeline. But you can always send a follow-up request if you don't hear back within a couple of weeks. And owners may have overlooked your request too. Always think the best. It could be that many group board owners will check out your Pinterest account first. And if they don't see any super relevant contents, or even some of their pins there or interest there, or you've never interacted with them on social media, they'll have a difficult time believing that you'll be an asset to their board and just not approve you. So take rejection with a pinch of salt. It's a bit of a gamble. There are so many groups out there. Don't be offended. Just keep trying. Our next tip is have a bit of fun with the try it pin. Pinterest features a try it option, mostly aimed at food recipes, but we've seen it used on craft projects too. It would be a fun call out for some activity or engagement. When you try a new idea on Pinterest, you can add your photo to the original to show the originator how your copy or version or try turned out. And Pinterest will automatically open up a new section on your profile and save all your tried pins in a folder for you so you can monitor the successes and fails. And that way you can easily get back to the things that you want to try again, or to the things that worked out well for you, or the ones you want to avoid completely. The other advantage of this feature is that you can hold pin parties with your customers or team members, but we'll get to that idea just in a little bit. You're going to set up a consistent pinning schedule. On Pinterest, it's mainly quality over quantity. However, it's still important to build a regular pinning schedule so that your audience will always look forward to and find new and fresh content on your boards. Just like planning your blog post, think about what you're going to post relatively strategically. This will alleviate any panic and posting any old quick thing as a last minute ditch just to post something. It keeps you organized. And then in that organization, don't forget to schedule in a photography session. Sometimes these take the most time into your calendar too. So whether you're posting once a day, perhaps original content once a month, you can make sure that your Pinterest account stays active even when you aren't by scheduling your posts. So with the business account, you can also schedule pins for future posting. Super useful. You can use this feature to schedule pins to upload on a date of your preference up to 2 weeks in advance. Although you can only schedule one pin at a time, you can have up to 30 pins scheduled for a future date. Even if they are scheduled, you're still able to make those updates, choosing to publish a pin straight away if you need it, or you can delete it. It's really super flexible. We mentioned quality over quantity. Pinterest is all about the pictures. So here are the best practices photography. Good photography will enhance viewership, obviously. You should use really quite high quality photographs. Just like on Instagram or on your blogs, having high quality imagery is important if you want to catch attention on Pinterest. You need to literally showcase your projects and product. You want viewers to save and share them. So quality pictures with good lighting and sharp, well-composed photographs are essential. No one is going to pin something ugly, shadowy, out of focus, that kind of ugly. But don't let it deter you. I mean, you really don't have to be a super photographer. The photography starter kit is theoretically a simple light box, a good table lamp, a smartphone, and this is probably the greatest photography kit that you can start out for a beginning. After that, the sky is the limit. So smartphones, tablets, they all have autofocus features, so you can be pretty sure to shoot a good photo regardless of your photography skill. Don't stress out about it. Choice of background, keep your backgrounds clean and simple. The focus should be absolutely on your project and the detail of your project and not a lot of detail behind it. Saying that you could set up a little stage set with the odd prop or two as part of a consistency in your branding and image. But the bottom line is keep it simple, light, bright, and white. Use portrait shots. 80% of people on Pinterest also use their mobile app too. So larger, taller images perform better as they expand on the screen more as the user scrolls down through the Explore page. So it's just kind of useful to keep it in the right format from the beginning. Variation. Try posting different variations of the same subject or topic or project for diversity. As long as the pictures you pin are different, that's all that matters. Different angles in the pictures, different styles, different techniques. The more diversity, the more interest you're going to get. A tip, try not to post the same picture over and over again on multiple boards. You can space it out over a few days, but if you pin the same thing to multiple boards within a short period of time, Pinterest will record the movement as spam and they can block you. So keep it original, consistent, but not repetitive. Plus, your followers can also get really annoyed if they see the exact same pin multiple times in their feed, if they subscribe to multiple boards, and they'll just get bored and unfollow you. So create pins with multiple images to change up the style and to show more detail. If you're skilled, maybe a little bit skilled in Photoshop, for an example, you can get a fancy edit. You can stitch multiple images together to create one long pin. However, just try and keep it less than 4 images for clarity. Sizing photographs. Image quality is the key, but the size doesn't matter. The size is automatically going to adjust to what Pinterest wants, so you don't have to bother about that. Watermark your images. We've had a couple of questions on this one. The idea behind Pinterest is for people to take your images as inspiration and maybe even try to copy them. But don't forget, the original picture will always be able to be traced back to you, either via your website or via a watermark. Now, watermarking imagery is generally all about copyright, but watermarked or not, I suggest if you really don't want your projects copied, keep them off Pinterest, because people are going to copy your designs if they like them. It's a fact. But it's a little sacrifice to make and a risk to take versus the potential product orders and the traffic generated to your other social media sites. If your name is clear enough, watermarking too also helps find the originator of a picture if the direct linking to their sites or pages for some odd reason is not working, or actually they've forgotten to post a link. So watermarking does serve a secondary purpose too. If you're using Stampin' Up's images for advertising purposes, don't forget to check out the demonstrator policies on the demonstrator website regarding our trademarks and copyrights. Super important. And now let's quickly look at best practices regarding descriptions and text. Now, this is not very long. It starts with keeping your texts on your pins to a minimum. I mean, you've got a short space anyway. So you can think of your pin as just a snapshot of the link that you're sharing, so that you'll want to keep your text on your pin fairly short and simple. And don't forget, you can go into as much detail about product techniques and everything that in detail that you want on your blog or your website. So important would be to mention the name of the stamp set, the product, the technique. Those are always a good catch. And you still need to make sure that you come up with some search-friendly captions that contain a ton of good, generic and searchable words. So remember, the more generic you are, the more you may rank higher in the search results. For example, more non-Stampin' Up affiliated people will search Christmas gift wrap ideas, then they're going to search craft pillow boxes and tags and more accessories kit, for an example. Not many know our names. So use a mix of the two descriptions if the space allows. Use hashtags. A hashtag is an identifier. It's a keyword or topic of interest superseded by a hashtag sign. Hashtags are able to be indexed by social media networks, and it makes something become easily searchable or discoverable by other users. So look up and make up hashtags that are relevant to what you're doing. A good rule of thumb is to include about 4 or 5. Your business name could certainly be one of them. Marketing your Pinterest account, as we've pretty much said in every webinar to date, you've just got to let everyone know you've got one. So when you're advertising on your blog by using icons or adding a link to every email or newsletter that you sent out, any advertising that you have a Pinterest account is good advertising. How about a couple of interactive or proactive ideas to promote your site? Well, supposing you held a product-based workshop. Let customers know that you'll put up an additional project or two made with the same supplies on your Pinterest site. Invite them to try it out. Remember that try it out button? And post their pictures too. Hashtag the projects with something relevant for easy searchability. Is that a word? This challenges customers to actually use their products at home and to drive product to your site, drive traffic to your site. When they go to search for your Pinterest account, they're bound to get engaged looking at all your other projects too. So don't forget to tell them that they can repin anything they like, Pinterest is all about movement, activity, and those algorithms to get you noticed. You can host a Pinterest party. And this is a great backup if you're stuck for a class gathering. Now, there are several ways you can do this. You can choose yourself a particular pin as an inspiration for an in-person, real-life gathering or class, whatever. Case the design or show your customers and visitors how to design variants of that design or inspiration that you found. It also challenges you when you do that as well. Or you could ask your customers to go to your Made by Me board to choose a couple of projects that they would like you to present at their next workshop. That saves redesigning stuff. It's a bit like a menu. Or you can set up a group craft board on Pinterest for your customers where everyone can add the pins they'd like to make with you. The host then picks 1 or 2 doable simple pins off the board and supplies the items necessary for everyone to make those pins in collaboration with their demonstrator, you, of course. And then the group gathers for a real make them time for a real gathering. Or you could challenge your avid customers to find a pin they like on Pinterest, organize or order the supplies for it from you, of course, and bring that idea to demonstrate or to make at a gathering. Now that way, everyone will get to make and try out a different project, including you, and they get to appreciate all the work involved. And it trains them to maybe think about becoming a demonstrator themselves. Of course, they can consult with you about what they would need or what they could substitute the project with, and keeping your status of group leader and #1 supplier intact. So there are sure to be lots of other Pinterest-related ideas too. And you can use non-stamping up pictures to inspire color and pattern or style challenges with your customers. A tip though, make sure that you tell your guests to choose pins that won't or shouldn't take longer than 20 to 30 minutes to make, or you'll probably be there for hours with some fancy project. Or you'll just have to limit the number of projects. And for the ease and sake of your business, make sure they know how to pin projects that use only current stamping up items. Always a hit, turn your event into a Pinterest potluck party and ask each of your guests to bring something to eat and share to after crafting. The foodie bits at the end, awesome. Everyone has a good time. Yeah, keep the ideas coming. There are tons out there, but it really is time for me to stop. And I'm going to hand all this over to you now with a little call to action. So here's your homework. Research into and set up a Pinterest account or a Pinterest business account if you don't have one. Pin your first pins of your own work. Try and join a minimum of 2 other Pinterest groups, a minimum of, and hold a Pinterest-related event. Get active, and the rest will be up to you. So a special thanks goes out to our own Jason Dunnigan for all his help and advice on best practices mentioned in this webinar. Thanks, Jason. And many thanks for listening and watching. We wish you the best of success and tons of fun with your new Pinterest venture. Thanks for watching, listening. Bye.